Look, welcome back. We in season 2 still, episode 6 this time. Welcome back to Mic Check, Minute Conversation. I got my brothers Josh with me. I got my brothers Doc with me, as always. And we here to kick off with another one, man. Another great episode, another great topic to discuss amongst ourselves, but with you. And look, just for the new folks that's just joining us, one, go check out our previous episodes. We got some good stuff for you, some fire episodes that we won't want you to miss. But most importantly, what is this table? This is a table where we show up as our true selves, where transparency lives, where we speak our truth and grow deeper within ourselves, but also we're building legacy along the way, but together. So all in all, great topics. We're going to go ahead and expound on our perspectives, some things that we truly believe in from our sides. And look, as always, we're going to go ahead and pass it off to my brother Doc with the questions. Kick us off, brother.
Let's do it.
Let's
All
go,
right,
Doc.
man. So another hot topic for us today, man. The quiet loneliness of men. Obviously, like that could, we could shut it down right there. You know what I'm saying? But we have some solid questions that we'll love you brothers' perspectives on. I'll give my perspective as well. Obviously, hopefully for our viewers, this would be a really solid topic for our men specifically. That we can relate to and you can take something from. So we'll go ahead and dive in, fellas. And before we kind of start off, I'll just like throwing questions out there and things like that, and getting your takes. I think like I'll just kind of lead it off by saying like loneliness doesn't always look like isolation. And I think what I mean by that is like sometimes it could look like a full calendar that you have, group chats and, responsibilities and all that thing, but you still feel like nobody really sees you. So ultimately, would love you all's perspective as we kind of try to like define loneliness in that light, because it could definitely be misconceived. When was the last time like you felt truly understood?
Man, listen, I think last time I was truly felt understood, I think that it's, man, I don't want to say every day because I feel like that's kind of like throwing a blanket response. But is that not is it not the truth? I think almost every day, bro. And I wouldn't really put this in a category of loneliness, but in terms of not being fully understood, I think often enough on a daily basis. Mainly because I think it's enough for us to just walk out of the house and make sure that we're already kind of like feeling like we already at war. Not to say, not physically, not literally going through a war, but it's tough enough to get out, go to a certain place for us at the workplace, right? And I think that for us, especially me, I'm looking like, I'm a big black dude with a beard. I'm tatted. I'm already looked at and kind of being, prejudged in a sense. So I really think that I don't think really no one can kind of step into my shoes and fully understand where I'm coming from, because I do want to continue to be myself, my loud self. I want my tats. I want to kind of be able to, continue to be expressive. But in terms of being understood, bro, I think daily, man. I don't think that will go anywhere, but I think that's also something I continue to want to uphold,
Yeah, I love that. I think I could piggyback off of that. I think for me, yeah, I really feel that I'm definitely going to continue to be misunderstood. I'll feel like I will never be fully understood. And the reason I feel that way is because, I don't think that I've fully like shown a person like my 110% self. And to be quite honest with you, in certain situations, I don't even know myself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I'm still trying
Yeah.
to figure that out. Like you place somebody in a specific situation, like that's what growth really happens. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so I think, with that, it's just like it's a constant, not battle, but it's a constant just like self-actualization that I'm trying to get to for myself in order for me to really like identify, and know who I really am in a multitude of situations. But I think on the general sense, I tend to be more reserved, especially like people who are outside of the ones that are closer to me. And a lot of people may feel like that's a lot of crazies out there, man. It's a lot of people that,
Yeah,
wishes on your
absolutely.
downfall. You don't really, at least for me, I don't really share all of the things I have going on with everybody. And so I think like for that reason, I am going to be misunderstood. It's easy to look at like my IG stories and posts or whatever the case may be, like, yo, nah, he got it going on, or maybe not, or he may not have it going on with things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be a misconception always, you know what I mean? And so whereas, I could be posting things for a totally different reason or the
Right.
lack thereof, and and it could be, that way or whatever. So I agree. I don't think there is a level of loneliness. I'm definitely okay. And I think with my circle, I know that I'm not feeling like lonely, so to speak. But the fact of like it being misunderstood, I came to grips with that's gonna be the case. And for
Absolutely.
those who I want to understand me, I've let them into a point to where it's just like, okay, you understand me enough to be able to accept me for who I am. And knowing that those who may not be in that circle, I'll definitely be misunderstood to them, and
Every
maybe
single
vice
time,
versa
bro.
as well. So, I think that that's how it is for me.
And look, I look at it, Instagram gonna get what we give it.
Yeah.
Exactly,
It's gonna
Yeah.
get what we
exactly,
give it.
Yeah.
exactly.
I definitely think it's a case by case basis. I mean, it just depends on what I want to allow you to get from me in this
Yeah,
Mhm.
particular time, or this particular season. Like I said, it's a case by case basis. I feel like we'll always be misunderstood to some point, But like I said, like you said, DB, I'm 6'3", you know, I'm growing my beard back, but it's a command presence when we walk in the room. It's
for
different,
sure.
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? But us being African American males, I feel like we still do have to work just as hard as anybody else.
Mhm.
So, and we have to be somewhat of a standout. Like I said, all of us on this podcast are leaders in our professions. That just speaks for itself. But, you know, we're still gonna be misunderstood. But
Yeah.
like I said, you get to pick and choose what you want to give a certain person for them to understand.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's respect. And I think like, as we go deeper in this conversation, it's just like we already kind of like, I don't know if it was consciously or subconsciously kind of like steered away from the word loneliness, right? And I know that that's kind of like in the topic. So it's like, do men even like use the word lonely? Like, do you even like have that in your vocabulary? Like, yo, I feel like I've been feeling a little lonely, man. Like when,
I've
somebody asks you how you been, or whatever, like,
I don't think
is
I've
that
ever
even something we use?
I don't think I've ever said I was lonely. I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever said that.
I
Never.
agree.
Nah.
I don't think
I
I've
think
ever
we
said
find different ways to say it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think we say it indirectly,
Yeah.
not
right.
it's just a choice of words.
Yeah,
I ain't never been lonely.
So sometimes I don't know. I mean, I think sometimes, brother, we twist it in a way. And I ain't say we twist it, but we may express it in a way of saying, I like being by myself. I mean, yeah,
mhm,
Yeah.
not to say that's necessarily lonely, but shit, sometimes it is good having good people around. But
Yeah.
I
yeah,
think I think now at our big age, especially me, I'm a transplant here in Texas. Would I say that we're lonely? And I mean that as a group for me and my family. At times, hell yeah. But I do think that, at our big age, we're currently it's still in the era of no new friends. I don't think we got away from that ever since that song dropped a couple years ago.
Right.
yeah.
Well, years ago.
I was about to say in
Um,
a couple,
yeah,
it's
it's been
it's
years.
some
Yeah,
years, yeah.
it's ever since that joint dropped. I really think that it's not necessarily easy for adults to
It's not.
get the friendship that they want, especially when they dropped into a certain area. So I would say, have I said it with lack of words of loneliness? Absolutely. But I look at it as, look, I'm to myself. I like to step out maybe with a small group because I do like to step in small groups in general. Or I might just say, oh, I'm gonna go watch a movie by myself. That's cool too. Don't get me wrong,
Right,
none of this should be looked at in a negative way. But I
right.
Right.
do think sometimes you just don't have a solid pool to pull from.
Right.
Mhm.
So, and we talked about it before of having certain friend groups. You don't have a solid pool to pull from to hit a movie with you or to hit a restaurant with you. You might not have. They might want to do different stuff. So I think lack of better words. Yeah, I think we've said it, we've heard it, and sometimes we'll even proactively pitch in and be like, "Oh, I'll slide with you if you want me to go with you."
Yeah,
Right.
It's
yeah,
almost
yeah.
like it's like golfing now. Even here, I got my guy Mark, but before that, I'm like, I ain't got nobody to slide to go
Oh,
to go play golf with me. So hell yeah, I'd
Right,
be lonely if it
right,
went for my dog Mark.
yeah.
So that's
right,
that's
right.
my plus one anytime I bring it up. But I think that absolutely, bro. To answer the question, yes, absolutely.
That's respect. I definitely think that to your point, I think is said in different ways. I think like, you also, especially for our viewers, man, like those who are like I have a combination of like being an introvert and extrovert, but I do think that, for those who are really introverted, like really introverted, I can understand, to a certain extent of just like, hey, like I genuinely just like being by myself. But, I honestly also feel like, there's much more, out there to doing things, as a unit or as a
Mhm.
team or just with another person, whether you're working out. I
Mm-hmm.
know like all of us, we kind of like tapped into golf too. Like I could go play on a normal basis by myself. But like Josh be like, yo, like what you doing on this Tuesday, bro? Like, let's go hit.
Right.
I'm all right, cool, bro. Like that gives another, or even not even somebody that I know, because some courses do even have it set to where it's just like, yo, we're backed up. I need you to partner with this person. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Right.
You
yeah,
don't know that
yeah,
person from anywhere, but
yeah,
as
yeah.
you're on the course and you're talking, it's just like, man, like I thought in my head that I needed to do this by myself today, but I'm glad that I had somebody to do
Right.
this with,
Absolutely.
whatever that thing is. And so, it's not a I don't necessarily think that, yeah, I don't use that word, but there's a feel of just like, what, I've been to a point of just like introverted for a little while now. I would love to do something as a group, for example, and I
Yeah.
think you said it too, DB, if like, as us in our adulthood, like a lot of marriages going on, a lot of kids being popped out, a lot of foundation of families being set. Let's put it that way. And with that, man, there comes a lot of isolation. Like you got to be in the weeds, man, and you got to be away. You don't have to be, but a lot of times it takes that, for you to, really like set that strong foundation of what you're trying to build. And it requires you all, whoever is within that household and who's helping maybe with that child or things like that, to be a part of that process. But everybody else, sometimes it takes a little while for you to step back out and be a part of just like any group fun activities and all these different things. And so
Mhm.
sometimes you do feel that,
Right.
especially when you're going through those milestones of life, to where you're just like, you know what, I don't necessarily feel lonely. I have my core group here, but I definitely want to, step out or do something different, or things like that. So yeah, that's how I would frame it.
Yeah.
But using the word in itself, I think probably we do frame it in a different way.
Definitely, definitely, man. It's just like, and I would equate it to like even working out, bro. Like it's hard to work. I would say it's hard, but it's always better when you're working out. You got a partner. You
I
know what I'm
think so
saying? You
too,
got
bro.
somebody to push you. Got somebody to prime you. You know what I'm saying? You got a
Why you
spotter.
look like that, D?
Yeah. But
'Cause I feel like it's I feel like it's subjective.
essentially, you know what I'm saying? If you say, "Hey, man, I'm about to try to max. I'm about to try to hit 315." You know what I'm saying? If I get in there, I'm in there and I got somebody like you see your regular gym crew, like the same guys you see, you don't really know them like that, but everybody dap each other up.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
What's good, bro? How you
For
doing? You know
sure.
what I'm saying? What you working on today? Chest. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what I'm saying? If I need somebody to spot me, I know they
Mhm.
got me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So in a sense, yeah, I'm kind of
Respect.
sort of in the gym working out by myself, kind of lonely, but I know if I got some like somebody's there to help me.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So I'm
that I
I'm
would agree with.
necessarily like, you know what I'm saying? I'm lonely in a sense, but there's always people there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That part. Hey, that's heavy,
Yeah.
bro, and man, that expounds even beyond the gym, bro.
Yeah.
Lonely,
For
but you
sure.
Oh
always
yeah.
got people there. That's loud as hell. But yes, I would absolutely agree. I don't like hitting the gym with other people, somebody else. That's just me. I
Right.
give me my headphones, give me a Celsius, and from there, I'm good.
Right.
That's my pre-workout, got my music going. I do want to stay focused. Look, me and Twin, we hit the gym yesterday together, and it hit different. Both of us got our headphones, but we both like, oh yeah, let me take this on so we can talk. And low
Yeah, yeah,
key,
yeah.
both of us know that this ain't really how we work out.
No.
Certain places, man, it does. It's
Requires that.
necessary for loneliness.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
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 I
Right.
yeah.
need that.
Right.
Sometimes
For sure.
it's necessary to hit the gym by or hit the restaurants or hit the movies by yourself,
Right.
bro. Sometimes it's good to drive with no music. Low key, that's
Right.
lonely.
I did it. I
But
did
I
it all
might
Yeah.
day
just be
today.
old.
I
Yeah.
did it
Well,
all, I did
nah,
it all
nah,
day.
absolutely not. I do
I did
that a
it all
lot,
day
bro.
today, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
I did
I
it
mean,
all day today.
sometimes you
loneliness is
need that.
cool, man.
You need
Sometimes.
that solitude, man. You need that
Yeah.
area of just quiet space, man, to think. It's so many distractions, so many loud noise around. Like it's like, dang, like, and not even loud, like as far as just like actual volume loud, but like, just maybe even in your head, man, and just like you need those quiet thoughts, man, to really be able to put things in perspective. And so that
Mhm.
could be looked at as a sense of loneliness, but like you said, bro, I think what's profound is it is necessary. It is required sometimes for you to really just have that moment,
Yeah.
or not even just a moment, but a long period of time. I think one of, well, it may have been UDB where you were just like, yo, for my birthday, bro, like typically I'll do things for the family, things like that. But I just went somewhere by myself, man. And I just like for a
That's
weekend.
it.
So sometimes it's not even like a moment, like a split, like, all right, maybe an
Right.
hour or so. Sometimes it requires like a longer period of time to where it's just like, man, let
Mhm.
me sit in this, man, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, bro, I appreciate your perspective like that. That hits home for me anyways.
Facts.
Mhm.
But I think too, have you, because some people, I think you hit on this, Joshua, where it's just like, having that period of just like, okay, like I'm by myself, but I have people accessible. Like,
Right.
but for those as our viewers too, like I'm curious to know y'all's perspective of, like, have you all ever been surrounded by people but still felt by yourself, or at least like, going back to, I guess, to that sense of like misunderstood or out of place, or things like that. Because I can say for myself, it is like that to a certain extent. For me sometimes, like I definitely felt like I was in a place of just like, man, like I know a lot of people, I'm surrounded by a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
surrounded by a lot of unique individuals, but I still feel like I'm the only one in the room to see this situation this way, or that feels awkward. You know what I mean? Like everybody feels like the camaraderie is there. And some people can fake the funk really well. Like,
Right.
have that. That's just not me. My emotions is
Yeah.
all on my face. Like if I feel a way, you're going to see it. I can't hide that. And sometimes I have felt that way, whether it's, in a working environment, whether it's in just like, in a friend group, to where it's like, I think you kind of hit on the DB, where it's no new friends, right? Where it's just like, all right, I'm cool with this
Yeah.
person, but they bringing somebody I don't know. You know what
Man,
I'm
and
saying?
that's a
Right.
It's
little
just
too
Right.
like,
much noise going on.
it's a little.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know
Yeah.
if I really feel. I'm there. I'm trying to have a good time, but it's just like I'm just in my phone. I'm like, man, I should have just stayed to the
Stay at
bro. Like
home,
I
bro.
just should have just chilled
Yeah.
out, bro. Like this
I
ain't even what it. You know what I'm saying? So I digress, man. I'll let y'all boys
I
take it
think
over.
it's just like you said, Doc. Like you've been around like a bunch of people and stuff like that, but you feel like you're not getting nothing, or you feel like you're by yourself. I feel like it just goes back to what we talked about first season, just aligning yourself with like-minded people. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
yeah,
who you can catch a vibe with. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Like if we're gonna step out, like it's gonna be chill. You know what I'm saying?
right,
And
right.
you got this group over here that it's gotta be something when we go out. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Mm-hmm.
Like
right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
we gotta go club, you know what I'm saying? We can't hit the lounge. We gotta go be
Yeah,
standing on some
yeah. We
couches in
got
the
it.
section.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I'm not with
yeah,
that no more. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
They wanna party at night. I wanna catch a day party so I could
I
be
want
home
to
at
catch like a
night.
little.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think
That's a fact.
it's like just being around people that got your type of mindset and your type of thinking, and everything just aligning together, man, because yeah, like you could be with a whole group of people but still feel lonely. Now that's
Absolutely.
true. Now
That's a
that's
And
fact.
true.
you ever had a thought on doing something and the group of six that you with didn't want to do the same thing?
Mm,
Oh man, I would equate that scenario to the same exact thing of being
yeah.
surrounded just by people that you like, and I feel like, and for some reason I keep envisioning myself of just like zoning out, like, and Doc hitting the same thing you just said, like, bro, I should have just stayed my ass at the
I
crib
should
Yeah.
just.
Yeah.
because I really don't want to go here.
Right.
And but absolutely, absolutely, it's very possible. Look, in the setting don't even matter. It could be work. It
Yeah.
could be, it could be out. It could be at the crib at times. It could be just based off of a collective decision or a collective outcome of what you guys are doing as a group. And I think I think Josh, I think you hit on this with having like-minded people around, and
Mhm,
but Doc, you brought in like having those like-minded people around, but they bring other people. Oh man,
mhm.
sometimes that's the worst dynamic ever
Throws it off.
Right.
because granted, yes, we might have a business mindset, me and this person, but if they bring their club couple, bucket of friends, or they bring their, their joking bucket of friends, this ain't really the setting I was kind of expecting
Right.
Correct.
to look for. I was hoping I could hit a cigar lounge and strictly talk business. Maybe go hit some golf balls. We get one golf cart where two people fit. Now we
Yeah.
got three,
Right.
but we got to wait for somebody else. And this ain't really what I was thinking about.
And
Mhm.
if
And
that's
so
the case, tell me beforehand. Don't
Right.
let me be
beforehand,
in
I
the
can
car
decide.
let me
and
know.
not, you know what I'm saying? And I'm 10 minutes away. Hey, dog, where you at? I'm about to pull up. Yeah, by the way, man, such and such gonna be with me.
And that matter of fact, I just called a flat, bro.
You
That's
know
Yeah,
what
bro.
that's
I'm saying?
crazy.
You remember, bro, right?
You,
Yeah, right, right. Yeah. Oh, hey, look. If
Hey,
you
yo,
on
you
that,
remember, bro.
just
You
count
know
me
what
out.
I'm saying?
And low key, I
before
don't
you
even
met
really
him,
like
bro.
surprises like that. No way. So
Yeah, man, I
keep me
don't.
abreast on what's going on to the full, like as much as you can. Keep me updated. I don't even care
For
if you
sure.
gonna
Yeah.
be late. I'll accept being late if you let me know.
Yeah.
Right,
But
right, right.
give me the updates. If somebody else pulling up with you, let me know who coming with you. Don't just pop up. I think that's a pet peeve of mine, though.
Yeah.
It is
Because
for
again,
me too.
especially speaking of lonely, you ever try to do something with your homie and he brought his girl and you didn't even know she was coming? Nothing against it, because I love my
Right.
wife to pieces. I would
Right,
bring her, but I would
right.
let whoever I'm going
Yeah.
somewhere with
Gotta
know that
let
my
them
wife
know.
is coming with me.
Yeah.
It
But I'm like,
changes
hold
the
on, you
whole
ain't even
dynamic of
say,
things a little bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Keep me
Let me
abreast on the
know, bro.
updates, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. No,
Yeah, that'd be like,
I totally
"Bruh
agree with
coming,
that,
bro.
bro.
Bruh coming." Yep, yep, bruh coming. Nah,
I ain't tripping,
bruh
y'all.
cool,
Bro, cool though.
bruh
Bro,
cool
cool.
though, bruh cool.
Like, dog, nah, cause I had some stuff. I was gonna pour my heart out to you today, G. Like, I already had this joint pre-planned. I'm going
Yeah,
through
bro.
something,
We
and
had to talk
you got the
about some
squad
things.
coming.
Right.
Nah, bro. I should just
Nah,
stay home. I'm gonna holler at you tomorrow, bro.
man,
Yeah,
bruh cool.
nah. Call me when you drop her off.
That's hilarious,
Yeah,
man. Nah, that's a fact though. That's a fact. That's much respect. I think we definitely hit that one on the head there. We all agree with that, man.
Nah, for real, for
I
real.
think like as we look at just like men in general, man, of like, I think with the in our occupation and things like that, our professions and stuff like that, and just in our private lives, man, and what we have going on, man. Like a lot of men can relate to our situations of just like staying busy. But I guess like the real question is, are we actually being connected? And connected to just I don't know, just like our surroundings, just like what's around us, opportunities that's maybe there for us and things like that. And so I guess like the question that comes to mind for me: do men use work or responsibilities to avoid like emotional connection?
That's deep. No, I feel not, man, because like I use work to try to sort of build that emotional connection in my profession.
Okay.
I do. You
Okay.
know what I'm
first
saying? Because I
love.
deal with a lot of different stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Might be here one minute, there the next minute. I wear many hats. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I could be father, I could be uncle, I could be brother, you know, all at one time. It just depends on what kind of call I'm going to, you know.
Hmm.
So it just depends on the day, man, to be honest.
No, I can totally see that.
I would probably agree. It's funny because I'm on the fence, right? Because I kind of want to say yes, we do use work and responsibility to avoid the emotional connections. But just like Josh said, you have to look. We're in leadership positions. You have to wear those kind of hats.
Right.
I think that the emotional connections are going to be there. I think that if you care about people, you
Right.
definitely because it's some people leaders that don't care about people,
Oh
Right.
yeah,
and
absolutely.
so but I think if you care about people, absolutely that emotional connection is there, and that I guess is a test in the sense like I know I have it, I know I can do it. But if I'm thinking like outside of the workplace, you have to have a different emotional connection with the people you have at work versus the people you. Because my wife, she hit me a couple times like, "Hey, look, this ain't corporate America, Derek. Like,
Yeah,
we don't need
yeah,
that one.
Right.
yeah.
We need this one." I'm like, you know what? You're right. Because sometimes I will kind of get it kind of twisted because I'm like, I'm at work 40 plus hours out the week.
Hmm.
And I say plus because I never really do just 40. It's always more
Right.
where those emotional connections is something that I kind of thrive on. And then when I come home, I try to do the same thing. We might not need that emotional. We might need a different kind of connection right
Right.
now. And so sometimes I do think at times because you feel like I might need it. I'll probably give a little bit more effort to work this week or just this day in a sense, and I'll potentially avoid it on another area. The more time I put here, I'm going to lose time somewhere else. So
Right.
Absolutely.
I would say yes and no, bro. It's definitely a way to avoid some emotional connection in a sense, but at the same time, I think it kind of helps too.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that tidbit up around just like, how the difference could look like, outside of the workplace as in
Hmm.
your personal life of home and things like that. Cause that's exactly how I look at it as well. Because the same things has happened to me too. You know what I'm saying? As far as just like, hey, like, or I think, in our last subject, just going back off of like group chats and things like that, like you may be emotionally tied, to that chat and the conversations that goes on. And it's like the energy you give to that may not be the same energy, that you give in your personal
Hmm.
life or whatever's at home and things like that. And so it differs, man. And that thing it sticks out like a sore thumb, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so you have to have that balance. And then I'll also say too, like sometimes it's not intentional, that you're using this
Yeah.
to avoid that, right? Like I think you also said it too, of just like when you give energy to something, just understand that something else is being neglected or
Hmm.
you're lacking in another area. And
That's
so,
true.
I feel like if you understand that, and you I guess like meet it at its head and try to create that balance, I think everything will pan out how it's supposed to be. I mean, we've all done it, man. We have to meet deadlines, we have to, things that work. it's all going to shits, man. You know, it's high volume, and your
Mhm.
direct reports, man, they all like, about to have meltdowns, and you got to talk them off of bridges, and then, you have to change hats, and, you try to
Yep,
give that other emotional connection
Absolutely.
you
elsewhere.
got to.
Your mom might call you, sister might call you, things happening, man. Your
And you
homeboy,
gotta
I'm
answer
like,
them.
God dang, you know what I'm saying? And so
You gotta answer them.
it happens, man, and you may
Mhm.
fall short in one area. So, just understand that you're human, and give yourself some grace in the whole process, man, and just try to compensate for it in another way. Like again, I understand, like, for me with my wife, it's just like, okay, I know I'm like you, DB. I think as well as you, Josh, where it's just like this is not a 40-hour work week. Like this is it's gonna extend, right? And so I
Right.
know with that, I'm losing time elsewhere, being with my family. And so like the weekend, I'm like, I'm gonna beat you to the punch. I ain't even gonna let you call it out. I'm gonna just go ahead and start planning stuff in advance and just like, yo, like this weekend we going to look at, or we going here, or we going whatever,
Mhm.
just so it can be like, all right, like I think you do get some points on that too, where it's just like, you know what? At least the thought is there. At least you're
Right.
cognizant of, these things that are going on versus you just being oblivious to it, and it's just like, all right, narrow minded, I'm locked in on this, and you're not even aware, that there are other things that's being neglected. I think that's where
Right.
the conflict could be created there. So awesome take on that, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate y'all
Absolutely.
perspective on that as
yeah.
well.
That's a good question.
Yeah, man, it's a loaded question, but I hope that,
Absolutely.
folks listening to this could again understand that it's gonna happen, just try to strike that balance. I don't
Definitely.
know, y'all, when life is gets a little stressful though, like do you lean into people or do you isolate? Going back to the aspect of like loneliness, quote unquote, or just kind of like I want to be to myself, or however you want to frame it, but things get a little stressful for you all on your plate. Same scenario, or maybe a little different of just like heck of a work week, things happen in personal life or people in your personal lives and things like that. You lean into anybody or, some people, or do you tend to just kind of stay to yourself?
I think mine is just a case by case basis, man. It just depends on what it is at work, man.
Yeah.
For real, for real. I find comfort in, getting off work, taking a shower, going to Longhorn, sit at the bar, whether I drink
Hmm.
or not, just go get me a steak, man, just chill.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
if it's going to go ride my motorcycle or if it's going to go just hit a couple golf balls, man. I feel like that. Hitting the range the other day, it was beautiful outside. I was the only one
Yeah.
out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh,
The wind was
that's
blowing a
love
little
by
bit.
itself.
The birds were
Man, that's
chirping a
love
little
right
bit.
there. I mean, the
Man,
scene.
the
Yeah.
clouds, it was just, didn't put no golf shoes on. I went out there in my Birkenstocks.
Straight.
You know what
I
I'm saying?
seen that. I seen
No
that.
socks, no
Had
nothing,
the
bro.
toes out there.
You know what I'm saying? I was just by myself, bro. You know what I'm saying? Had my shorts, my
Yeah.
basketball shorts on, bro. I ain't care. It was
Yeah.
just free.
It was early in the morning. It was a weekday, if not
Yeah,
mistaken.
nah, it was Monday. It was
Yeah.
Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Monday this
Yeah, I
week.
seen it. I was like, my man got the Berks on. Golly.
Yeah,
Hey, boy, it's
yeah,
feeling
bro.
good. Well,
It felt good
it's
though.
been a good week, bro.
It felt
It's
good.
been
It
a good
felt
week
good out there though, bro. I'm just
for
saying.
sure.
So like, I just got done working the whole weekend, night shift, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you know what I'm saying? Which it wasn't a bad shift, but like Monday, it was time to just decompress, bro. And I just
Yeah.
want to go out there do the things that I like to do, bro. Like I said, just hit a couple golf balls and stuff. So I would say, like, in that space, I needed that loneliness to myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think a lot of times,
Man. Oh,
especially like for what we do or just like the people who we are, I guess, like, we try to, I guess we are centered around people, you know what I'm saying, in our professions and things like that. And
Right.
like I think you called it out, DB. Like if you're not a people leader or whatever, like yeah, that's gonna be known. But since we are, it's like, yo, we take in a lot. Like we're sponges. We absorb a lot.
mhm.
And I think at that point in time where it's just like, man, like I've been in because I work remote, right? So I've been in X amount of Zoom meetings. Like sometimes my day, bro, it's like meeting.
Yeah.
I don't even really have a break to like eat. I don't have a like and things like that, or just to say what up to the family. Like none of those things. And so like I do think that sometimes, or at least like how things are shaped, and some folks' personal lives may be different or work life may be different, but because my life is centered around people all the time, I do think that it's easier for me, like in a stressful situation, for me to, like you said, Josh, go hit a couple golf balls or at least just be somewhere that's isolated. Even if I just go outside of the back, man, and just sit down and just enjoy the weather now, it's good outside.
Yeah.
Like that's just that's just my comfort area, man. And so I think it's easier for me to do that. Like, is it always healthy for me to do that? I think it's just a case by case basis. Is really situational. And you use your discretion, as far as like how you feel like you should handle those situations. If it's like more than you can bear, like I never had a situation where it's just like, yo, I don't feel like I should be by myself right now. Like I don't think
Right.
I've been in that situation, but there could be some
Right.
individuals, out there that where it's just like, I don't feel like it's safe for me to be alone right now. Hit somebody
Mm,
up, like call somebody and,
absolutely,
make sure
absolutely.
that, you do it the healthy way or positive way. But at least speaking for myself, I do think that because how my life is shaped, I am that person for so many different people. It's easy for me to be like, yo, that kind of brings the stress for me, not necessarily something that like I may have brought on myself. Like it's more so just like taking in so much is kind of stressful at times. And my decompress is a lot of times isolation. So yeah, I think that's comfort for me because I'm able to just unwind and wring that sponge out to be able to absorb some more that next work day or whatever the case may be. Even when I
Mhm.
get back home, if I leave the house. So yeah, I think that's how I would approach that.
Yeah, no, look, absolutely the same. I think that we working around people all day from being that sponge, as you would put it, Doc. I mean, because one of those categories of being within that sponge is also a therapist almost,
Yeah,
Right.
where
man.
it's almost like
Yeah.
it's almost like damn, like I feel you, like I'm listening, I'm like damn, that's pretty rough. I
Yeah.
don't even really got room to complain anymore at this point. So
Right.
so I think for me to be able to fester in my thoughts, bro, about like my current thoughts or situation, sometimes, bro, I think both for me. I need my isolation because I need to figure out if I do need to express myself, who am I gonna call?
Right.
Who am I finna talk to? And I think, man, I got my circle of people that I would reach out to, right? You got individuals that you would call, and if one person don't answer, you might even have a plan B in terms of a backup. I think for me, bro, at first, because of having to deal with that and look, and we know the spaces I have to go in or I have to, I'm going to work. I work with so many people and I'm listening to so many things. The Zoom calls literally are back to back all day. I may get maybe an hour to myself throughout the day. And then my commute home is the moment I get to myself and it's like, all right, cool. When you go home, it's a whole different hat. You got to drop on real quick and you got to also get ready for that energy that's finna burst to you as soon as you walk through the door. So it's
Yeah.
almost like, man, I think for me, bro, isolation is perfect. But I will say that my wife be hearing it, boy. I be like, baby, listen, I need to tell you what happened.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
or
yeah.
and I had sometimes and again it goes back to me asking her before I start, like, yo, you got capacity to catch this, are you feeling straight? If you good, I got some stuff to lay on you. If
Right.
not, then I'm cool. I'll keep it to myself
Mhm.
until the temperature is right.
Yeah,
Right.
check
But
that
otherwise,
temperature.
bro, I need to isolate first. But I feel like if there's anything that's typically tugging at my heart, I will express and have a conversation about it. And even
Yeah.
if it's just to get a different perspective from somebody else, you know?
Yeah.
And Doc, like
Yeah,
you said to our viewers out there, if you feel like you get in a spot where you feel like you don't need to be alone, kudos to you for recognizing that, right?
absolutely.
But definitely call somebody.
Yeah,
If
man.
you feel in that very moment that you do not need to be alone, definitely reach out to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Facts. And I think like, yeah, I think we hit it on the head there. I think I'll just kind of quickly piggyback what you said, DB, around just like taking that isolation, but then also kind of blending it with also, centering yourself around somebody or a group of people to, still
Mhm.
get that first perspective and things like that off. I think that's also very, very, very appropriate, man. And because for me, like I'm definitely a processor and I'm like, yo, I don't like to just word vomit. Like that's not the type of person I am. I want to be like sounding, what I'm saying. I want to make sure that I'm precise. And a lot of times I can do that through isolation and really just kind of getting my thoughts together. That car ride with no music, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just kind of like thinking through all the scenarios or whatever the case may be. And then as I'm kind of bringing it to the table to whoever I may want to confide in, whether it's my wife or whether I call my pops, so my day one, whatever the case may be, then I could kind of bring some substance to the table versus just like to each his own. But like when folks like bring situations to me, and it's just like, no, I don't know what's really going on because there's just so much that's going on. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
by nature, I feel like I'm like a problem solver. I think as men, we want to solution, anyways. It's just like, I don't want to stay in this like emotional space forever. Like, what are we going to do about this now that this transpired?
Right.
And when it's just a lot of like, things being thrown at me at one time, I'm like, I don't really know how I can help in this situation or what I need to do. What are you asking of me,
Yeah.
essentially? Or was it just that you wanted to get all this off? But it's very confusing for me. And I think like, I just like to I don't want to be that to other people, I guess, because I guess that's a pet peeve of mine. And so I love the blend. I guess that's what I'm trying to say of just like, isolation if it's there, if you need that, which is very apparent for me a lot of times. And then, still taking it to somebody that you confide in to get that fresh perspective. That's dope.
Absolutely.
Dope.
Awesome, man.
Dope.
I think like for us, it may not be the case, but I'll ask this question anyways. As far as just like friendships between men, and we talked about like people who we confide in and things like that. We all have that person, I feel, or persons, but this is just more of like a general thing. Why do we feel like friendships fade, or in regards to male friendships fade as we get older?
Man, I think it's about the growth.
Alignment.
I think it's about growth. And man, I'll speak specifically for the fellas at least in terms of the fella friendship, like the men friendships in general. I think growth, bro, in terms of us growing into separate directions, and I think
Mhm.
that's okay. I think that also kind of continues to put your friendships in specific areas too, specific pockets, like we talked about before. And
Mhm.
again, I don't think that any of that is bad. If any of my friends told me today that I got you in a pocket of this. This is when I need to reach out to you. This is when I'm like, respect. I'm glad you can compartmentalize that and figure
Yeah.
out where you need to put me because I feel the same way. I don't
Yeah.
feel pressure to have to kind of like play going back to conversations we had, on the last episode. Don't have a conversation with me if that's not my role. I fully accept my role in our friendship. And I think I'm in this friendship because of my specific role. But I do think that when paths have completely gone away, that it's okay to let somebody slide, with well wishes. I'm typically, I ain't gonna say typically, at times I will post check and see like, yo, whatever really happened, like what even kind of, and sometimes you could just see it. You could see it visually that we're really not on the same page anymore in terms of where we were 5, 10 years ago to where we are today. I mean, like I had a great group of fellas that I used to keep close with back in the day. Respectfully, I mean, I've left town. I moved to Texas.
Right.
Yet I moved from Virginia to Denver. I had a good group
Right.
of people there. I moved to
Right.
Texas. So the people I had with Denver, I still keep in contact with, but we're not as tight. And think about the people that was in Virginia with me. I think the same thing. Sometimes your environment kind of forces you away from those groups. But I will say this too. I do think as well that distance also is something that can continue to foster a relationship. And
Mm.
Yeah.
and I would love to explain that in a way of
Yeah,
thinking.
please do.
I think that, think of me for example. I'm always like, yo, I wish so and so lived here in Texas, or I wish I still lived in Denver because so and so is there in Denver. And I'm like, I sit back and I think, I'm like, damn, but what time do I really have to really continue to pour into that friendship though?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And right now, friendships, even thinking about me and Josh, for example, I don't see Josh. I'll call Josh. Me and Josh, we call each other pretty often.
Mhm.
But I see Josh in person when we take a trip. And if
Mhm.
we do the things that we do on the trip every weekend or every week when either we'll be broke, we'll be tired of each other, or or you know what I
That's
mean? I
facts.
think that
That's
sometimes, bro, I
facts.
really think that like the distance is something, a reason why a lot of the friendships are still super tight today. And I
Right.
Makes sense.
appreciate that.
That
Right.
makes
Right
sense.
now, my time is fully vested in work and my family. Both
Mhm.
of those places and people depend on me, and I really don't even have I don't have the capacity to meet with people often enough. So I think sometimes that's the reason why friendships, relationships fade too, because that person just don't really have the capacity to keep up anymore. I can't keep
Right.
up, and I don't think I will continue to overextend. I can't.
Yeah.
So yeah, many reasons, some good reasons, bro,
That was
but
dope,
also
DB.
some tough ones.
Nah,
That was good, DB.
I
that was
appreciate
real
that, bro.
good.
That
I
was
Yeah,
a
don't even think
freestyle
and
too.
that was good. I don't
hey,
even know what
I
else
don't
to say
even
after
think
that.
I have
Yeah,
anything to say after that,
but
bro.
but
You hit that one
like
on the head,
like
man.
seasons, you got different seasons in your life and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
you got your guys from high school. You know what I'm saying? Your day ones. Maybe you went off to college, they didn't. You know what I'm saying? They still back home, still same mindset. They still hitting the little neighborhood club that they got every weekend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
priorities are different. Your priorities
Mhm.
are different. You know what I'm saying? They might think you are different because you went to college. They just got a high school diploma, you know what I'm saying? No. And then you got your college friends, which I believe that college friendships will last forever.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know what I'm saying? Will
Absolutely.
last forever. It ain't nothing for me
Agreed.
to see somebody that, you know, from college, man, like we still gonna be kicking it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's crazy because you got 8th through 12th grade, then you got your freshman year to your senior year, and if you get an extra semester or 2 extra semesters, you know what I'm saying? Like college taught you how to be whether a young man or a young woman. Like college taught you a lot. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, you can never
Absolutely.
get those, like you won't never get those days back, you know what I'm saying? They're
absolutely.
distant memories, like, those memories are absolutely great,
Yeah.
wonderful, you know what I'm saying? And those
110%.
friendships, whether you're in a Greek organization or you was in, like, a theater club or whatever type of you're an athlete, you won't never forget your teammates, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? You will never forget them. You won't
Right.
never forget
Right.
your friends that you came into the school with your freshman year, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you still keep up with them people.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So
And look, I think the biggest thing, man, and I know this is it's one topic that we won't really have time to jump into, but the appreciation piece. I show appreciation to each one of the fellas that I keep in contact with,
yeah,
and the reason being is because again, going back to compartmentalizing, they're there for a reason.
yeah,
I might have a specific friend that I could just vent to, and I'm like, dog, I'm so glad I chatted with you, bro, because you just talked me off a ledge. I needed that, and I appreciate you, and kind of going, just making sure that I pour back into that person. And
Absolutely.
I think it's critical to make sure that you show that appreciation for each person that's in a specific compartmentalized space within your life, in general. But make sure that we're vocal about it as well.
Yeah, I think, and that's exactly what I would say too. Just appreciation in general. I think that too kind of goes into like how I would approach the last question, just like why male friendships may fade, but just friendships in general. I think it's because like I'm in a season now of just like I'm pouring into people who pours into me.
right.
And
Hmm.
whereas as a younger doc, I was just trying to just pour. I was just trying to make impact. But I wasn't intentional about my energy that I was giving. And I was
Absolutely.
just like reaching, overextending, just make a trip and then turn around, make another one, just to make sure that folks were feeling good. And it's just like, man, like not to say that all of those individuals didn't do the same for me, but it wasn't on the same scale for a lot of individuals, right? And I think like a lot of times, like that's why, to those things may fade because you mature, right? And you understand that it's just like, hey man, I can't move the same way, like I used to move, man. I have, like you said, DB people
Hmm.
who I'm responsible for, and who's counting on me, who needs my time, versus those who, may play with my time, right? And I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
it goes into that appreciation piece because a lot of times it's not even like monetary stuff. It's not even just like you said, it's verbal and it's by your presence, being there. Hey, look, the family got something going on. It's a little cookout. I bet me and the family there, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I might show up with a little bottle, I might show up with a little gift for the kids or whatever the case may be. Like that's how I show that love, to those who pour into me in my life now. And versus me just being very reckless with the energy that I was giving individuals, man. And I think that they just kind of like took that as just like, man, this is what we can always expect of Doc, man. And it really didn't
Yeah.
cherish that. And I think it
Hmm.
was to some degree taken advantage of, and again, not everyone, but I do think that that kind of shaped my level of thinking now to say like, yo, like I can't repeat the same thing because I can't move the same way. And for certain individuals, man, you just have to, or for certain seasons, you have to understand, that certain individuals can't go with you into that new season. And
Absolutely.
with that, you have to be okay with that. So again, to our viewers, man, like, stop trying to pull other people who shouldn't be in your next season in your next season. Like sometimes you gotta walk that into that next season alone. You have
Phew.
to.
Yep.
Everything is ordained how it should be. And I was one, I think Josh, you hit on this, man, to where it's just like went to college and a lot of my guys, may have like started in college but didn't finish or stayed the course like I did and things like that, or didn't go at all. And it's just like, dang, bro, like I thought y'all was coming with me in this new season,
Hmm.
man. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And I had to find a totally different vibe, a totally different group of friends, man. And again, to those college friendships that I agree, last forever, man. There's some solid, solid friendships and people
Mhm.
who I've met along the way and taken into this new season of life after college. And so, all of those things to say, man, like, don't be afraid of, moving in isolation or loneliness at times because it is necessary, right? But then
Yeah,
also too, when the opportunities call for it, make sure that you have some solid people in your corner that's accessible. You know
That's
what I
correct.
mean? To where like when you do, have that urge to, make a move, a business move, or just to have a little bit of fun, you don't have to worry about taking a trip and, backing out last minute because of finances or, you know,
yeah,
all of these that struck a nerve there. All
yeah.
these different things, man, to where it's just like those like-minded people to where you can have in your corner where it's just like, yo, I can not only confide in you, but I could also just kind of let my hair down and just be my authentic self.
That's right. I could have said it better myself.
I think, man, I think that's a phenomenal way, Doc. I know I can expound on that a little further. I think we all
Hmm.
could, but
Yeah.
I want to definitely make sure I'm coming to a closing. And one thing that we hit on for sure is that one, loneliness is not a bad thing. There's moments where it's necessary. It's required.
Absolutely.
And even having people around does not mean that you're not going to feel by yourself.
Absolutely.
And don't put yourself in environments that you just don't necessarily want to be in. Feel free to remove yourself and know that you can't carry everybody into that next season as well.
Right.
And look, one thing that we also hit on, which is really, really critical, is if there's a need that you need to find somebody to talk to, make sure you got somebody that you can talk to. I don't care if it's a brother, a sister, a cousin, us. Feel free to reach out to me, and I don't care who it is. Make sure that you can talk that thing out because honestly, mental health is critical. I think
Absolutely.
that I think sometimes we kind of undermine the seriousness behind mental health. Feel free to get a therapist. Most jobs has an EAP program or
Hmm. Hmm.
resource groups that you can reach out to as well. I think that's also a big one. Mental health is critical. So please, if you do feel lonely, you need somebody to chat with, make sure you find somebody, make sure you have that outlet.
It's a great plug. Great plug.
But a phenomenal way to end this one, fellas.
Definitely. Good
Yet
episode.
again, a great episode.
Yeah.
Many conversations, and you gonna hear a lot of different things from us. Sometimes we don't agree. I think it's probably like 3 episodes where I'm like, we gonna go against the grain a little bit,
Right, right,
Yeah.
but
right, right.
I think some solid references on the back end of that too. We appreciate you guys. Josh, Doc, as always.
Oh,
Many
yeah.
conversations wouldn't be the same without y'all. If y'all have any questions, concerns for us, please leave them in the comments for us that we know we can improve and maybe throw some additional
Absolutely.
insights for your ways. Till then, well, more so till the next time, y'all have a good one. Appreciate
Take
y'all.
care.
Be safe, be blessed.